Hey, good morning. Good morning, everybody. This is Michelle Prince. Welcome. I hope you're having an awesome day. It's the day before Thanksgiving here in the States, and it's a really great day. It's just a great day to reflect and be thankful. But we're going to be talking about something fun today. We're going to be talking about your story. Did you know you have a story? You do have a story. No matter who you are, no matter where you're from, no matter your background, you have a story. And the greatest news is your story matters. It matters even to just one person. It matters, it matters, it matters. So that's what we're going to be talking about. But first of all, just welcome. I'm so glad you're here. My name's Michelle Prince. I'm a very proud Ziglar Legacy certified trainer. I've been associated with Ziglar since the very early days when I worked for Zig at the headquarters in the, early 90s, a long time ago. But I just am very passionate about keeping the legacy of Zig Ziglar alive, and that's why we do these videos, is we want you to be motivated and encouraged and inspired to be the best you. And so welcome. So who's here with us today? Hey, Dean. Oh, hey, thanks so much. I appreciate your kind words. Or Dane, I'm sorry. Paul, hey Paul, welcome. So glad you're here today. Who else do we have? Tell us where you're from, what country you're from. I know we have people from all over the world that join these broadcasts, and we're thrilled that you're here. So we want to recognize you and give you a shout out. Followed the workshop last February. Fantastic. Awesome. Well, we're glad you're here. Well, while everybody's coming in, hello, Karazan from Toronto. I'm sorry if I said that incorrectly. Beverly, hello from Trinidad. Welcome. Super excited you're here. We have Guillermo, I'm sorry, I am so bad about pronouncing names, I think, but from Florida. Well, glad you're here, even though I butchered your name probably. Rita from Toronto, Dan from Downey, California, Marcia from California, a lot of folks from the West Coast, I love it. We have Enrique from the Philippines, welcome, welcome. Rob from Louisville, Kentucky. Jane, welcome from Singapore. Jose from Nicaragua. Wow, we have a lot of people from all over the world. India, Sai from India, Sherry from Michigan. First time here, well, welcome. You're in for a real treat. So what the point of these videos are, and all of Ziglar is all about an inspiring true performance, about bringing hope and encouragement and positive messages to you so that you can really step out and be the best version of yourself. How many of you grew up or have either seen Zig Ziglar live, or you've read his books, or you're familiar with him in the day when he was out there? Go ahead, give us your likes, your shares, your loves. I just want to get an idea of how many people are continuing that legacy by wanting to be inspired by his words. Hello from Danielle from Cape Town, South Africa. Love it. Tanzania, Sandy, we're glad you're here. We have Bernadette from the UK, Patricia from Oregon, Mildred from NYC. Love NYC. Northern Cambria, Pennsylvania. Tracy, glad you're here. Dan, thank you. Thank you very much for loving my energy. I'll be honest with you, I love doing these videos. They are so much fun. So it's morning here, and I'm in McKinney, Texas, and I'm starting my day. I was having a cup of coffee, and in fact, it's so funny. I was noticing the coffee cup I was using today. These are my two boys. Talk about having a story. We all have a story. Well, part of my story is I am a mom. I have two boys. I have these little guys in the picture, but my goodness, this one is 17 now, and this one is 13, so they're really way bigger than this. But as I was drinking my cup of coffee, I just smiled when I saw that, and just so grateful that, one, that I get to come and share with you, some thoughts this morning, but just so grateful in general. So day before Thanksgiving, Hi from Hungary. Awesome. Deborah from Texas. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining and sharing, and continue to do that. What I want to talk about, though, is your story. And I'm so passionate about this subject. And let me explain something. It's not about writing a book. It's never about a book. It's about your message. It's about your story. And did you know that when you share your story, when you share the experiences and the passions that you have, and those experiences, by the way, they can be positive, they can be negative, but whatever you have gone through in life is part of your journey, right? It's part of who you are. You can't change that, but what you can do is share that story with other people to inspire them, to encourage them. Whether you are a business owner who maybe the early years of business you struggled, it was tough, and you have now overcome that? By sharing that story with people who are just starting a business, you inspire them, you give them hope. Same goes for moms, moms or caregivers that sometimes we get discouraged, but to read about or hear about somebody else's story of how, they had struggles too, but they got through it, that's inspiring. So that's why we share our story. Now, I just happen to know, though, when you take your story and you put it into a book, that's when magical things happen. I'm talking powerful things, because your book is your business card. And whether you have a business or not doesn't matter. What I mean by that is when you are a published author, you immediately have instant credibility. You immediately have a platform. Now, how many of you, and just go ahead and do some likes and loves there to answer this question, how many of you want to make a difference? You can type it in, you can like, you can love, but if you truly want to make a difference, you want to help other people, you want to know that something you said or did inspired somebody else, let me know, because that's why you want to write a book. Oh, look at all those likes and the loves. I love it. Yes, I believe ultimately most of us want to make a difference. And I always tell people, if you want to make a difference, you got to tell your story. You can't keep it inside. You can't keep all of that you've learned and all of the lessons that you have and all the encouragement that you have for others inside, because it won't help anyone. Love the loves. Thank you. Love it so much. So JR said, I read See You at the Top at age 17 and it changed my life. Funny story, JR. So my life was changed with Zig when I was 18. I was just getting ready to go off to college, and my mom and dad sent me and my brother to Zig's Born to Win seminar. And I'll be real honest with you, I did not want to go. I was a pretty typical teenager and I went kicking and screaming, but it changed my life. And honest to God, true story, I am sitting here speaking to you today because of that interaction. It made such an impact on me that I wanted to work for Zig. It was almost 5 years later to the day, once I graduated college, that I was working for him. And then that legacy has just continued throughout my life. So I love you sharing that. And how awesome would it be that we take this same message and all the things that we've learned from Zig and pass it down to our kids and the kids in your community and the kids at your churches and in the schools nearby, because I'm telling you, it will make a lasting impact. It did for me. It sounds like it did for you, JR. So Gunther says, let's rise by lifting others. Oh, love that. There is a great, I shared it on one of these videos one time, but a great poem about lifting others. You rise when you lift others up. It's not the opposite. Some people think, oh no, if I lift somebody else up, it'll make me put me down. No, it's the absolute opposite. Thank you, Mary. I'm excited with this episode, obsessed with stories. I am too. I totally am. And you know what though? A story doesn't have to be, you don't have to be the best at your career. You don't have to be, at the top yet to share your story. When did Zig start? Was he at the top when he wrote his first book? Absolutely not. But did he have a heart and a desire to want to inspire and help people? Yes. And what happened? That book exploded and launched his career. Now, I'm not saying you write a book to explode a career. Some of you want to. I know I did, but others, you just want to leave a legacy for your family. So what is your story? If I had said, I started waking up early 6 months ago and that changed my life, huge. Give yourself a little bit of extra time in the morning, at least an hour, life-changing. So I said, I failed my 7th schooling as I'm working as a waiter. Now with the inspiration of Zig, I'm working as a freelance motivational speaker in my community and colleges. Thank you, Zig. Oh my gosh, that just made my day. That's awesome. That's the whole point of all this, is it's not rocket science. It's just opening your heart up. It's just opening yourself up to put yourself out there. You don't have to get it right to get it going, but you do have to get going. And so for me, I personally believe writing it down, whether it's in a journal, a blog, a book, whatever, get it out there for others to share or for others to experience. Deborah says, I want to leave a legacy for my family and help others do the same. I'll share a funny story. So when I wrote my first book, I have a little of my story. I worked for Zig. I left. I felt like I had to go pursue another career, but what I realized, I was far from my passion and it made me miserable. So one of the things that really was a goal of mine was writing a book. I didn't tell a soul. But when I finally wrote my book, it opened all these doors. But even after it was published, even after Zig Ziglar himself wrote the foreword to my book, I still only told a handful of people. I didn't do a big launch yet. So I held my books in my hands. I was a published author and no one knew. Well, I wasn't ready quite yet, and that's another story for another day. But one of the things that inspired me was one day my youngest son Tyler was in kindergarten. And his teacher after school said to me, she said, I didn't know you wrote a book. And I said, I didn't tell anybody I wrote a book. How did you know? And she said, well, this week in kindergarten, we were learning about all these different authors, like Dr. Seuss and Seuss and some of the other ones. And at the end of the week, they went around the room and they asked each of the kids, who's your favorite author? And my son Tyler, who was only 4 when I started, 5 when the book was, or 5 when this happened, he stood up and he said, my mom is my favorite author. And of course, and I'll get teary-eyed even thinking about it now, but I'm only sharing that with you to tell you I had no idea that he even knew I did that, let alone the impact. So when you say you want to leave a legacy for your family, I'm telling you, what greater legacy is there than to take your beliefs, your dreams, your goals, and your experiences and put them in a format that they can hold on to long after you're gone. So I encourage you to do it. So Mildred is asking, how do you start? Okay. And I'm also seeing somebody else saying, I'm planning to write a book when I grow old, but I realized I could start it now. Why wait? Oh my goodness, why wait? You know what? We are not guaranteed one more moment. So I believe, I agree with you. Why wait? So how do you get started? Well, first of all, if you look in the feed here and also at the very, very top of the feed, there is a link, and I have a free book writing checklist for you, and it will walk you through the steps. I tell people all the time, 1, it's not rocket science, but 2, it's just a recipe. Just like baking chocolate chip cookies, you just need to know the ingredients, you need to know what order to put them in, and if you follow that recipe, you will be successful. Writing a book is the exact same way, but it starts with finding your story, okay? So here, let me give you some things to think about. And you can even grab a sheet of paper if you want, and just draw a T-chart, like a T-chart on a piece of paper. And all you're gonna do is on the left side of the T, you're gonna write all your passions. So this is opposite, obviously, but the P stands for passions, okay? Write down everything you can think of you're passionate about. Are you passionate about kids? Are you passionate about cooking, helping others, teaching, self-improvement? Are you passionate about traveling? What is it that when you're doing it, you just love it? It lights you up. Maybe you're passionate about politics or faith, or, what is that for you? And on what you want to do is you want to write down as many as you can on that list. This will give you clues as to what your first book should be about. And I say first book because this exercise often lends itself to creating ideas for many, many other books. So once you've done that, and passion is so important. You want to know why? Well, whatever you write about, you're going to be talking about it for a very long time. So you want to be sure that you got some passion in there. If you've ever known anyone who said that they've started on a book and it's 10 years later and they still haven't finished, it's probably because they're not passionate about the topic. So passion is really, really key. So then, Danielle says she's already written 7 chapters. Awesome! Keep going, keep going. And Marius is saying, my passion is tennis and the gym, kids and the dogs. Awesome. Okay, so those are great examples, and I'll use those examples. So all of those will be on the left side of the T-chart. Now, flip the switch. Stop thinking about passion and thinking about experience. And what I mean by experience is, what have you gone through in life, professionally, personally, that you have experienced? I'll give you an example. I'm a mother. I have experience as a mom. I am a wife, so I've experienced as that. I've always been in sales, is my working career. I have experience with that. I have experience working at Ziglar, so with personal development and things like that. I've experienced doing a lot of different things. And on the right side of that T-chart is where you write down all the experiences. Now, let me remind you, experience does not necessarily mean you wanted to experience it. And what I mean by that is we go through things in life sometimes that are difficult. No, not sometimes, all the time. We all have something we have dealt with in life that is not positive. Could have been divorce, bankruptcy, abuse. It could have been so many different things that you did not want to experience, but yet you did. So that experience needs to go on the list. Now hear me out. What we're looking for here is an intersection between your passion and your experiences. So you don't want to write a book just about something you experienced, if you have no passion for it. And you don't want to write a book about something you're passionate about, but you've never experienced it. So it's got to be the intersection, and that's a really great way. So Jeff is saying that my passion is about how we experience relationship, all kinds, working on a book now. Awesome. So that's your passion. My guess is you have a lot of experience with that. So you've either had some really great relationships, maybe you've had some very difficult relationships, but it's because of that experience you've had, good or bad, that you are able to share those experiences along with your passion to create awesome book. And who doesn't need help with relationships? We all do. Let's see. Okay, Abolia, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, is traveling. Her passions are traveling, society, motivational training, helping others. Yay. We've got somebody from Malaysia, Elo from Malaysia, saying, I want to make a difference. And, okay, this is a great question. Somebody asking, if I don't have any experience, what should I do? Well, we all have experience. You know, you have experience if you were born, right? That means you're a son or a daughter. You have experience, I'm sure, in school. You have experience with, possibly with a job, but you might have had experience with, maybe, I don't know all of your circumstances, but if I sat down with you for 5 minutes, I guarantee you I'd pull those out of you. Experience just means whatever you've gone through that you could share with somebody else, your experience, okay? Marius is saying, I have practiced tennis for the last 17 years and gym 6 years, teaching tennis from 10 years. My experience, I got it the most in Egypt from the last 6 years. They are amazing people over here. Awesome. They are. And so that's a perfect. You have passion for it. You have experience. That's a great book. And if you do this exercise right, my guarantee is you're going to have more than one connection. What you're trying to do is connect the dots. I'll share with you, so when I was writing my first book, I did this exercise. And on my passion side, I have so many passions. I love personal development. I love babies. I love the beach. I mean, if you can't tell, actually, I don't know how much of it you can see, I've decorated my office to feel like I'm at the beach because that's how much I love it. I am passionate about motivation and self-improvement, those kinds of things, seminars. That's on my passion side. Now, on my experience side, like I said, I'm a mom. I have experience in sales. I have experience using personal development to get me through the ups and downs of life. I've experience working for Zig. So those things, when I was looking at my list, that was a direct connection. Passionate about personal development, and I've used personal development myself, and I worked for the master of motivation and personal development, Zig Ziglar. So you see the connection there. And likely you'll have many connections. Okay, question. How to become a motivational speaker like Zig Ziglar? Well, I'm so glad you asked, because we here at Ziglar have a program called the Ziglar Legacy Certified Trainer. And there was just a webinar on it yesterday, but I promise if you get in touch with Lou, who is on this feed here through Zig Ziglar, she'll get you the information. But essentially, you can be certified to represent the values and the programs. There are 3 training programs of Zig Ziglar's that people come from all over the world. We just had a class last week to get certified. How awesome is that? So that's one way. There's many other ways. But I will say this, no matter how you become a speaker, you have to have that story. Everyone needs to know where you're coming from, so you got to figure out that story. So what else? We have Chris from the Philippines. My passion is to help people, empower them to change their lives. That's exactly my passion too. And you know what's interesting? At one time I thought, well, you have to be a Zig Ziglar, you know, somebody who's had his career for 40 years to do that. You don't. Every single one of you can even leave this video when we're done and go inspire, lift up somebody else. It's so simple. You just look for opportunities to share with other people ways, you know, to make their lives better. It could be a smile, it could be a compliment, it could be some advice to help them with something that they're doing. Whatever it is, you have the ability to do it. So how do you find your passion? Okay, I'm going to answer this question because I'm sure some of you out there are thinking, well, maybe I don't know my passion. And you know what? That's okay. This isn't something that happens overnight. I'll give you a couple clues though. I have a belief that your passion is going to be very tied to your purpose, because I believe we're all here for a reason, and I believe that purpose was, you were born with it. Now, I just also happen to believe that, you know, we're going to actually like our purpose. So that's where the passion comes in, meaning you're going to enjoy it. So think about, what are some things you enjoy? You know, what do you love doing? What are you doing when the time is flying by? What do other people compliment you when you're doing it? You know, those are clues as to what you're passionate about. What do you read what do you enjoy reading? What are you drawn towards? This is a theory of mine, but I've proved it right many times. So you can tell a lot about a person based on where they end up in the bookstore. Think about this. So here in the States, you know, you go to Barnes & Noble, which is the big bookstore, and if somebody ends up in the travel section, well, that says a lot about them. If somebody like myself, I have a direct line straight to the personal development, business growth section. I love that kind of stuff. Well, that says a lot about me, right? Where do you end up at the bookstore? Are you in the cooking section? Are you in personal development? Are you in business? Where are you? That will give you a clue as to your passion. And then, start asking yourself, if there were no limitations of time, of money, or anything in the way, and just let yourself dream. Not thinking of the excuses, but just dream. What would you do if you could do anything? You might be doing what you're doing right now, but some of you have a passion or a goal or a dream that maybe hasn't been fulfilled yet. So the clearer you get on what that is that you really want to do, the closer you're going to get to that passion and understanding what that passion is. So there's a lot more to it. I want to answer a couple more questions here. And Locust saying, my passion is people progression. Same here. Don't you just love to see somebody something click for them? Maybe you give them a compliment that they didn't see before, and then all of a sudden they stand a little bit higher and smile a little bit brighter because you encourage them. Deborah saying, personal development crafts for kids. Sherry, thank you. I'm glad you love that idea. Antonio, power. So many great comments coming in. I wish I could get to all of these. Thank you for the likes and the shares too, by the way. If you know somebody that needs to hear this message, please share this. This is our goal, is to get this to as many people as possible. And here's another one. I'd love to be a motivational speaker. That seems like there's a lot of people drawn to Zig Ziglar who want to do the same, meaning they have the desire to help other people. And truthfully, when you are a speaker, you have a greater platform. But let me encourage you, you don't have to be on a huge stage like Zig Ziglar to be a motivational speaker. You could be doing what I'm doing right now. You could do a video for one person even and inspire and encourage them and lift them up. What I would recommend though is getting that clarity on your story. What is it? If you want to be a motivational speaker, great. What do you want to motivate people about? What is your story? And then, of course, getting it in a book is just an easier way to get on stages, in my opinion. But you got to know that story. Oh, I want to see this. Hold on. I'm going to scroll back up if I can. Darn it, I don't think it'll let me. My passion. Okay, Jennifer's saying, I beeline to the science fiction section. What does that say about me? It says you love thriller and you love imagination and creativity. What that says to me is that you're intelligent and you enjoy stories. There's fiction and then there's nonfiction, and there's no right or wrong. But that does tell me a little bit about you personally. So I love that. All right, Kara, Miriam. Can I wait? Okay, Miriam is asking, and I'm scrolling on this as well. I've been meaning to write, but I've been waiting for the right time. Is there such a thing? No, never. I will tell you what the wrong time is. The wrong time is when you are no longer able to and you have regret. Somebody put it to me this way. I do a book writing seminar, and one of the attendees one time came up to me. I didn't come up with this phrase, but I love it. And he was in his 90s. Yes, in his 90s. And he was writing his second book. And he came up to me and he said, I believe he was going to title it, Don't Die with a Book Inside, or something along those lines. And it's so true. Gosh, I wish I would have known what I know now about writing. I wish that I would have started my writing years prior, before I thought I was worthy to be an author. You see, for a long time, what held me back was not my ability to want to help people. It wasn't my story, because everything I had to write a book was in my head the whole time. I just needed the belief that I actually could do it to help me. And some of you can relate to this. Some of you may not, but I had that internal struggle of like, hey, who do I think I am to write a book? Anyone else out there maybe thinking that? Well, I'll tell you the answer to that. That held me back for 13 years. 13 years while I was in corporate America, I could have written my book. It could have opened this dream of me living my dream business. I mean, I get to do this for a living. I literally motivate, inspire, and encourage people through seminars and books and CDs and speaking and all that. But for 13 years, I struggled in a job I hated because I just didn't think I was ready. Let me tell you, you're always ready. You've been gifted. You have everything you need to be successful already within you. It's time to give birth. It's kind of like when us mothers, you know what I'm talking about here. Sometimes it takes a long time to get used to the idea of having a baby, and then finally 9 months later you have it. It may take you a little longer, just like it took me to get used to the idea, but I promise you, the moment you give birth to what's already inside of you, that's when things start to happen. that's when you walk into your greatness. Zig always said, man was designed for accomplishment, engineered for success, and endowed with the seeds of greatness. So you have those seeds of greatness. They're already in there. The sooner you release those seeds and let them impact other people, that's when the really fun stuff starts to happen. So thank you, Pangja. I'm going to learn how to pronounce names, I swear, on this next video, but thank you for the compliment. And thank you, everybody. I love all these comments. How to start writing a book and publish it. Okay, great question. And actually, I really want you to download this free book writing checklist. So if you want to know all the steps, that recipe I was telling you about, you just need to know what they are and in the order. I'm giving that to all of you for free. So I'm very, 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 very blessed to do what I do. I feel honored to share and help people write their books and write their stories, because it's not about the book, but it is a means to an end. So if I can help all of you to get your story out and to publish it, that means you're going to be impacting more people. And the more people we can impact, the greater the legacy we can leave. And that's my belief. That's how I think it starts, is telling your story. All right, so who else? Mildred has had a question about, does Zig Ziglar have seminars in New York City? And I'm going to let Lou, who's moderating this, answer this so she can let you know on all the upcoming seminars that we have. There's always something going on at Ziglar, online or in person. And Miriam's asking, how do I know I'm ready? I don't think I'm wise enough. That I'm going to answer, because I don't think you're alone with that question. It's not something. Here's what happened to me. So like I said, when I was working in this job, I knew kind of in my heart I wanted to write a book. I just didn't have the guts to admit it, but I knew deep down I had it. And it was almost as if I was waiting for somebody to come up to me and say, okay, Michelle, now you're ready. Almost like that fairy godmother with the thing, ding, okay, now you can become an author. Nobody's going to do that for you but you. You have to believe with 100% certainty that you have something to say that can help someone else, even if it's one person. When I set out to write my first book, it wasn't for millions of people. It was for my 2 boys and my husband. And then my parents, and some extended family. But generally speaking, I would have been thrilled if the only people that ever read it were my boys, because I wanted them to know my heart. I wanted them to know who I was. So you're ready now. You just have to believe it. And people will believe in you to the exact degree that you believe in yourself. That's a quote that I've said for years. I hold on to it with all truth, because if you don't believe you can write a book, or if you don't believe you're good enough, or if you don't believe that you have something to say, or if you don't believe you can be a speaker, guess what? Why should anybody else believe you? But if you, push through, feel the fear and do it anyway, if you push through and just kind of stand up tall and just say, you know what, I can do this and I will do this. And when you believe you can do it, all of a sudden other people look at you differently. They're like, oh, wow, she's an author, or she's doing this. So it's never going to be somebody telling you you're ready. Only you can do that. And, for me personally, it was a lot of time in prayer, a lot of time in just reflection, but you have it already right now. I can promise you do. All right. Okay, and Deborah's saying her belief in herself is struggling. Well, you are not alone. And I'm very transparent. One thing, if you've never met me in person yet, hopefully you'll get the sense over the video, but I'm very transparent. People laugh at me up at Ziglar because I cry at the drop of the hat, and it's just true. I mean, I mean, we all struggle with self-esteem and belief, and I know I have for years, and that's part of what held me back. But I'm telling you, you just have to trust me on this. The second you just shift that thinking of, instead of, well, not me, who do I think I am, shift it to, well, wait a minute, why not me? God created me, and I have gifts and qualities that no one has. Why not share them with other people? I mean, that's how I look at it. And it may sound easy coming from me, but I promise you, I've been in your shoes multiple times. And it's just a practice of faith, of believing in yourself. Sam says, I want to write a book about sales and marketing. Awesome. How many books are needed for sales and marketing? And Sam, let me encourage you to do it, because for years when I was thinking, I knew I was going to write a book, and I just was trying to figure out what it was about. For years, I kept saying, I have nothing to say. I thought the book was going to be a sales book, because my whole career I've been in sales. I've been pretty good at it. So I thought I would write a book about cold calling, like Cold Calling 101 or something like that. And every time I thought about writing it, it was like, like I don't want to do it. Does that make sense? I could do it. I had the experience, but I had no passion for the topic. So the fact that you have the passion, and I believe you probably have the experience to go along with it, go for it, because everyone needs those books. And some of us are meant to write them, and some of us are not. All right. Sai is asking me what my goal is. I'm going to answer that. And let me just make sure I don't have any other questions coming in. What is my goal? I appreciate you asking me that. So I have several goals. So my passion is speaking, whether it's in person, whether it's on a stage, whether it's on a video like this, just speaking hope and encouragement to people. I mean, that's truly, truly at my core. And so my goal is I want to do that in more places, in more countries. I want to come to, all the parts of the world to give that same kind of encouragement. But I also have a, publishing company and a publishing training company where I teach people how to write books. And I do have some specific goals of where I want to take that seminar. So I'll just be honest, I want to do one on the West Coast, I want to do one in Hawaii, and eventually I want to do one in Sydney, Australia. Those are my goals. Aside from business though, because I'm not just business, I mean, I am a big believer you have to have the balance is, be the best mom I can be. I have some, travel goals of where we want to go as a family. Hawaii. Can you tell I love that place? So anyway, those are some of my goals. I have many, many more. I encourage those of you who don't know your goals to write them down. That's something that Ziglar really helps you do, and that's through the performance planner. It's through the seminars and all the products and services that are offered to you. It's this goal setting 7-step formula. So like Lou, again, can get you all the details if you're interested in getting a performance planner or anything like that. But I encourage you that you do. Sherry, thank you so much. I guarantee you're an inspiration to a lot of people too. Without even having met you, I can tell that. I'm so glad Han is saying that he is ready now. I believe in you too. And you know what? Sometimes we just all need to have a group of people, of like-minded people, just to say, you know what, you can do this. And if that's me for you today, then I hope you do take that and run with it. You can do this. I mean, shoot, if I can do this, you can do this. Is kind of what I always say. TBI, Kara was saying she has a traumatic brain injury. There was just a woman in our Ziglar Legacy Certified training class last week that had a similar situation. And those, without a doubt, you're struggling in ways that I can't even fathom. But there's, I believe with every situation, there's a purpose for it, so maybe something will come out of that, and it will be a part of your story, whether you want it to or not. It's now part of your story. Thank you so much for all the sweet comments. Milena was asking, I was told to listen to Law of Attraction for one day. That day is today, and I was led to Facebook, and here you were sending this amazing live seminar. Thank you. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad. I believe that usually you are exactly where you're supposed to be. And so those who are listening are supposed to be here today for some reason. We'll find out. Keep us posted on what that reason is. Am I planning on coming to Europe? I would love to come to Europe. I don't have any plans right now, but with the right opportunity, I would love to. Deborah says she's going to update her dream board. Oh, goodness. There's so many great things. Well, I'm running out of time here. So I'm going to just wrap up by saying and reminding you that, whether or not you write a book, that's not my mission or intention for this video. It's more to inspire you to share your story, to find out what it is. Get clarity. If you do want to be a motivational speaker, this is number one, first step before you can do anything. You have to know your message. And at the core of your message it's just who you are. Everything you already need to share with somebody is up here. We just, get it out of your head and onto paper is the first step. But get clarity on that. Do the exercise, the passion and experience, and then download that free book writing checklist, because everything is in there that you need. And I'm a resource for you. I mean, my goal is to help as many people on this planet share their story as possible, because I do know that when we share our story, we make an impact for the greater good. So if I can help you with that, I would sure love to do this. Deborah's saying, I can do this. I love this. I love this. Sam's asking, any plans for Cambodia? Not yet, Sam, but I'm always open. Ziglar is always open too, to travel and share the message around the world. Thank you all so much for joining. And again, download that free checklist. Keep in touch on these videos. And we're always bringing you great, awesome content through webinars. So, and share this, please, with anyone that you think could use a little encouragement and pick me up today. But make it a great rest of your day. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving tomorrow. And I will see you soon.